Welcome, dear listener, to a world far from bustling cities and roaring crowds. Imagine yourself on a solitary island in the vast North Atlantic, where the wind carries salt and silence, and the steady glow of a lighthouse stands as a beacon against the endless dark. Tonight, you will walk in the quiet footsteps of a lighthouse keeper, whose days and nights are shaped by routine, vigilance, and the unyielding sea. You will feel the chill of ocean spray, the weight of isolation, and the steady rhythm of light cutting through fog and storm. So, settle in and breathe deeply. Let the soft murmur of waves and whispered winds carry you into this timeless story of endurance, mystery, and quiet strength. Imagine waking before dawn, the island still shrouded in mist. You dress carefully, heavy wool coat, worn boots, and a thick scarf to ward off the chill. Your first task is to climb the narrow spiral staircase of the lighthouse tower, the wooden steps creaking beneath your steady footsteps. At the top, the great Fresnel lens waits, a marvel of glass and metal, casting a brilliant beam that sweeps across the dark sea. You polish its surfaces with tender care, knowing that even the faintest flaw could spell disaster for ships navigating these treacherous waters. Below, the island is rugged and wild. Rocky cliffs, sparse grass tussocks bending in the wind, and the endless gray of sea and sky. The air is thick with salt and the faint scent of burning oil from your lamp. Your days are measured by the maintenance of the light, checking the oil reservoirs, winding clockwork mechanisms, and making sure the foghorn sounds on cue when thick mists roll in. Between tasks, you repair weather-beaten fences, patch leaky roofs, and tend to a small garden of hardy vegetables. Meals are simple: salted fish, coarse bread, and strong tea, taken alone or with a brief visit from the island's few other inhabitants. The isolation weighs on you, hours stretch like the unbroken horizon, and conversations are rare and precious. You write letters to loved ones, their pages worn from the salt air, and keep a meticulous journal of weather, ship sightings, and daily events. Storms arrive suddenly, with roaring winds and driving rain. You secure windows, stoke fires, and climb the tower to ensure the light burns bright through the tempest. The lighthouse is your responsibility, a solitary sentinel standing guard against nature's fury. As dusk falls, you watch the light begin its endless rotation, a steady pulse of hope for sailors braving the dark waters. Now, imagine a night when the sea turns wild, when clouds swallow the stars and the wind screams through the rigging of distant ships. On such nights, the lighthouse keeper becomes more than a guardian of life. He becomes a lifeline between life and loss. One such keeper, James McAllister, served on a remote North Atlantic island in the mid-1800s. His story is woven into the very stones of the lighthouse he tended. On a stormy November evening, a fierce tempest struck the island. Raging winds bent trees to the ground, and rain lashed the windows like tiny daggers. As the storm raged, James climbed the tower again and again, checking the oil lamps and wiping the Fresnel lens clean through the sheets of rain. He kept the foghorn sounding at regular intervals, its mournful call cutting through the tempest's roar. Far out at sea, a cargo ship laden with coal struggled against monstrous waves. Guided only by the faint but steadfast beam from the lighthouse, the captain steered through hidden reefs and violent currents. James watched anxiously from the tower's narrow window. Hours passed as he battled exhaustion, but he refused to let the light falter, for every flicker meant a chance for disaster. When dawn finally broke, the storm had spent itself. The ship was safe in harbor, and the crew would later credit James's unwavering vigilance for their survival. Imagine the quiet aftermath: James descending the tower, soaked to the bone, hands trembling but heart steady, aware that tonight's endurance had saved lives. This story echoes the countless nights kept by those who chose solitude over comfort, and the quiet heroism found not in battles fought with swords, but in steadfast duty to light the way through darkness. Beyond the lighthouse and the relentless sea, the island is home to a small but complex community. Picture a handful of families living in scattered cottages, their lives shaped by fishing, trade, and the occasional visit from passing ships. Among them are the merchants and ship captains, figures who hold sway over the island's fragile economy and social order. They dine on salted meats and hardtack, their homes, filled with imported luxuries and sturdy oak furniture, a stark contrast to the keeper's Spartan quarters. Imagine a grand feast held in the captain's house, the air thick with the aroma of smoked fish and freshly baked bread, candles flickering on polished tables, while the lighthouse keeper sits quietly in the corner, respected yet always just outside the circle. The island's clergy preside over simple but solemn religious ceremonies, their voices rising in song as the community gathers to mark the passing seasons. The keeper's life is one of solitude and service, but also connection, brief exchanges in the market square, shared stories by the hearth, and a deep understanding of the island's rhythms. Imagine the delicate balance between isolation and belonging, between the raw power of nature and the fragile threads of human society. As the evening draws to a close, you can almost hear the whispered prayers for safe voyages, the clinking of glasses to health and fortune, and the steady pulse of the lighthouse guiding all souls safely home. Beneath the restless sea surrounding the island lie stories hidden in wreckage, whispered by the ocean's currents and guarded by time. Imagine the ocean floor littered with the remains of ships' timbers worn smooth by salt and tides, rusted anchors half buried in sand, and fragments of cargo scattered like forgotten dreams. Among these silent relics, archaeologists have discovered clues to maritime life and tragedy. One sunken brig, lost in a violent storm decades ago, carried goods from far-off lands, exotic spices, bolts of fabric, and tools gleaming faintly beneath layers of silt. But it is not only physical remnants that hold the island's mysteries. Locals speak of ghostly lights flickering on foggy nights, of eerie sounds carried by the wind, and of a spectral figure said to wander the cliffs, a keeper from a century past, forever bound to the lighthouse. These tales blend history with legend, inviting you to ponder the island's deeper stories. Imagine descending beneath the waves, the water cool and silent around you, exploring the skeletal remains of vessels that braved these treacherous waters. Each wreck is a time capsule, a frozen moment of hope, fear, and the indomitable human will across vast, dangerous oceans. As the sun sets and shadows lengthen, the island's secrets seem to awaken, beckoning you to listen closely to the whispers carried on the sea breeze. As night settles softly over the island once more, the lighthouse stands steadfast, its beam a silent promise in the dark. You have journeyed through the keeper's days and nights, felt the weight of storms and the hush of solitude, heard whispers from the sea's hidden depths, and glimpsed the delicate dance of island life. This story is one of quiet strength, of unwavering vigilance against nature's vastness, and of human hearts bound to light and hope. Now, as you rest, let the rhythm of the waves and the gentle glow of that distant beacon ease your thoughts and carry you toward peaceful dreams. Remember, even in the loneliest places, a single light can guide the way.